Hi, I am going to make a video. I haven't made one in a really long time, and this one is dedicated to Margaret. Hi, Margaret. Yeah, so sorry about the wall. My room's being painted, so hope you don't mind. Kind of looks cool, doesn't it? But, so she did this awesome video about diving into the wreck for me. And it was so awesome. I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Margaret. So, one of the reasons why, I don't think I really told you this, but one of the reasons why I kind of wanted you to do it is, after watching your videos, I really enjoyed all of your videos and like the analogies of poems that you've done and just how passionate you were about it. And so I actually am doing advanced placement literature this year. I actually finished it already. But that was one of the quizzes I had about, and they asked me to analyze it, and I already did it before I had to do the video, so I wasn't trying to like cheat or anything, but after I did it, I wanted to find somebody else's opinion on it, because I thought it was such an interesting poem, and I thought you were so, good, well with, doing other things, and you did a really great job, so thank you so much, and that was one of the reasons, so now you know. But basically the analogy that I did is I had to kind of go into her life and how she was overall. I'm sorry, that's the wrong side. That kind of sticking out. But into her life as not just the poem, but just where her life was at the time, what exactly she meant. So I'm just kind of going to go with the first half. And I know I told you, I feel so bad just doing this because I know we were going to do it together, but we still can't. I'm just kind of stating what I learned, but so far, I know in the beginning of the book, in the poem, she says, first having read the Book of Myths, and to me personally, after reading about her life and when this poem was written, I think the Book of Myths was basically meant to be like how standards are as far as how men and women are supposed to be perceived and how life is supposed to be, what people really view as people, as men and as women. And this is around the time, I think it was like around where like this big feminist thing was happening around the time when she wrote it. I'm not really 100% sure on that one. I hope I don't get yelled at for saying that. But, so I'm just going to keep going. So after that, and I loaded the camera and checked the edges of the knife blade. And now, I know you said things about the knife blade, like thinking that it was personification, how it was going to be mentioned again. But I think a knife blade is more of a symbolism, not just as like a knife as a weapon, but it was as like used as protection, just in case if she needed it. But I think it was also something to be like, it was symbolizing how, because she was so afraid, she was going to bring the knife with her just in case, because she wasn't sure what was going to be down there. So it wasn't just like, oh, I don't need a knife, or, oh, the knife really doesn't mean anything to me. She really kind of specified that the knife, she's afraid, she's going to need that knife to protect herself, whether psychologically or physically, throughout the poem. So the Book of Myths is, and the knife symbolize something to her in a weird way, and then it goes into the body armor of black rubber, I'm sorry, and the absurd flippers. Now, when I first read this, I was like, what the heck is wrong with these people? Why are they like making poems about black rubber armor and absurd flippers? But then I was like, oh, and with your analogy about it, it was really, really helpful, because I was kind of still, even after writing my essay about it, I was kind of like, what the heck, like, why, I don't know, but it's like something, like, she feels vulnerable, because I'll read this part again. It says, the body armor of black rubber, the absurd flippers, the grave and awkward mask, I'm having to do this. So it's almost like she feels kind of exposed in a way, even though she's wearing the armor. She feels uncomfortable. She doesn't feel like she should. It doesn't feel natural. And I think in a way it kind of goes to, throughout the poem you can kind of see that she's struggling with something. And I'm thinking a majority of it, especially when I get to later in the poem, which I'm going to actually not do until I get the second part of your video, because I really I can't wait to see it. I'm really excited. But I think she really means, like, you'll kind of find later on in the poem, she really, really is struggling with sexuality and who she is as a woman, and not just the fact that, oh, I like women or I like men, you know. I think it's just overall, like, the total categorization of being a woman at the time and what it really meant and what was the freedom with that, and you can kind of tell that she feels very uncomfortable and unnatural, kind of putting on this armor to go and discover these things. And so, excuse me, I'm going to butcher this part, not like Kostu with his Asudis team, I don't know, I totally butchered that, aboard the sun-flowed schooner, but here alone. And she's basically saying she's here alone, like doing this alone, not having to, you know, it's not like she's protected with somebody else. This is her own battle. It's not really something that she can do with anyone else fully. I don't know if that went too far into it, but woohoo! Here we go. There's a ladder. The ladder is always there, hanging innocently, and I think you did that part beautifully, because I always kind of had this thing about that part of the poem. It was very like, I don't understand exactly what she means by hanging innocently, and then I realized when you said about how it's not really necessarily innocent, even though it seems like it, because it really does take you to another world. And so I was really happy that you did that, because I was like, I don't know, and then when you said that, it all clicked in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, really? Yeah, so close to the side of the schooner, we know what it's for, we who have used it, otherwise it is a piece of this is one of those days. So basically she kind of keeps going on with the ladder. And then she's going about going down rung after rung, like, you know, step after step on the ladder. The oxygen immerses her, and the blue lights, the clear atoms, you know, of our human air. I go down, my flippers cripple me. And basically that just kind of means, like, I think the symbolism right there, not just the fact that it's really awkward to go down ladders with flippers, like you said, but I think it was kind of like a symbolism of how awkward you feel when you're going through this struggle yourself, as far as like trying to figure out where your place is in the world, as, or even as just gender, especially how it kind of goes with this thing. But when she gets into the water, which we're going to get to now, it's the first air is blue, and then it's bluer, and then green, and then black. I am blacking out, and yet my mask is powerful. I'm really not 100% sure exactly what she means by that, and when you did say about the water and everything, and how it's cold and scary, because you don't really know where it ends and where it begins. I mean, you do, but it's something that you really can't control. Like, say if you were drowning, you really necessarily can't swim to the other end, because it's rather big. But I think what she meant by her mask is powerful is that she, even though it's dark and it's scary and it's this whole new world, she can kind of still, she has the power to see, because the mask, even though it's grave and awkward, the mask helps her to, you know, really have the power to see through all of this darkness. And so it pumps my blood with power. The sea is another story. The sea is not a question of power. I have to learn alone to turn my body without force into the deep elements. I am not sure. After this, I'm not going to go on, because I think this is where you stopped it too. But I'm really not 100% sure exactly what she meant by that. But I think I know, because the thing when she mentions alone again, because she mentioned it in the first each little chunk of the poem. Now we're kind of in the middle, and she mentions it again, that she has to go through this alone. Again, when I say about how, even though it's almost like a psychological thing, because even though she's going scuba diving alone, it's the scuba diving is more of a factor of she's swimming, immersing herself in this world of trying to figure out who she is as a female in this new found world. I think it was like this is around where I think the First World War was happening when she wrote this. I could be totally wrong. I know it was one of the world wars. And so this was kind of like when feminism was really pushing it, and it was going. So this is kind of like, but I think the main aspect of this poem is, like I said again, feminism and her struggle through it. And once you get to the second part, it really kind of comes up. You really understand fully the reason why this poem is so just crazy about underwater and all these things in the wreck, and it's really cool. So I'm actually going to stop because I'm just kind of rambling on. I really don't even know what I'm saying anymore. So I'll stop here, and then I'll keep going whenever you, yeah, so, alright, bye!